nos queda una visión de dentro del sector de una asociación sectorial. Para ello tenemos aquí a Gabriel Solomón, que es vicepresidente senior de la Asociación de GSMA, al cual estamos muy agradecidos de que esté aquí y haya podido venir, y nos va a dar una visión del GSMA en temas de TICs y de cambio climático. Gabriel, please.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. And it's, first of all, for the GSM Association, which represents the global mobile industry, it's a great honor to be here with Telefónica at this inaugural meeting. I think Telefónica have demonstrated great leadership in climate change in particular, and I think this event will be the first of many, so congratulations to you all for enabling this to happen. From the GSMA's perspective, we look at climate change and frankly came in it rather late. A lot of our members, in particular Telefónica, have shown the leadership, and we've got there eventually, and I'm very proud to say that we are now collaborating directly with Telefónica on two key projects. The first is in Latin America with our Green Power for Mobile program, where we are aiming to identify and commission 100 renewable energy base station sites next year. For us, it's a big step up in terms of scale of deployment, and working with Telefónica thus far has been an exceptional experience. It's very focused on execution, which is what we appreciate greatly. Last year, the GSMA came out with its Mobile's Green Manifesto, which was our first attempt, really, at putting a stake in the ground for the mobile industry in this climate change debate. There, we anticipated that mobile connections would increase to 8.5 billion by 2020. That's a compound increase of around 70% from today. But importantly, we also estimate that energy use per connection would fall by 40%. So that means that the net energy usage across mobile by 2020 would be at a very similar level as it is today. And one of the key areas we found, perhaps we should have just asked our members, to enable this is actually benchmarking network efficiency, because that's where the majority of energy is used up. In Telefónica's case, it's 85%. On average, it's around 80%. And this is a key area not only where I think best practice sharing can lower costs for our members globally, but also it's an area where, in terms of CO2e, our industry really has little choice. Basically, we procure the energy from the providers. The providers may provide it through nuclear power plants, which is then clean, or it might be diesel, which is pretty dirty. And in terms of our own carbon footprint, that is a big element, a big factor that we have very limited control over. So getting it right in terms of the network side is vital for us. And that's another initiative that we're proud to be working with Telefónica on. In fact, Telefónica's experience and expertise in benchmarking its own network efficiency is the cornerstone upon which we are building a global initiative. The global initiative will seek to establish a database from which we will be able to derive network benchmarking and a set of KPIs that will allow energy managers to identify areas where they can potentially improve the energy efficiency of their networks and thus hopefully contribute to the bottom line, as was highlighted by many presenters earlier today, in terms of reducing energy costs. And the fact that energy costs are increasing in Europe by 13% CAGR, as we saw, I think in many other areas the extent of that cost is actually increasing, particularly in third world countries where rural networks are being built and where the cost is not only for the diesel, but it's also the logistics of supply. So we anticipate that energy costs will increase, which makes this initiative all the more important for the industry. Now, if we take a sort of step back from the initiatives we're engaged in and the excellent work that Telefónica has undertaken, and we look perhaps more at the global political level, we as an industry tried very hard to engage with the COP15, because frankly what we've heard today is that there are a multitude of new solutions that are already available to be used. The Smart 2020 report alluded to a 15% global CO2e saving. That's maybe conservative. Karl-Henrik Svenberg, the former CEO of Ericsson and the current poor chairman of British Petroleum, estimates that 20% of catalysts for on the demand side. And that's where our call on governments is to get very engaged in leveraging ICT, in making ICT-enabled solutions part of their cross-sector strategy. So each government department, whether it's health, education, infrastructure, whatever that may be, has a goal, has a target to leverage ICT to lower that department and that sector with any country's carbon footprint. This is a message we tried to take to the COP15. Last year in September, I was at the UN General Assembly. I managed to assemble 3 of our leading CEOs who were going to meet with the United States chief negotiator of climate change. He came to the table and he walked away. He wouldn't engage with our industry. I found that shocking. Fortunately, how hard it is for our industry to get our message across to governments. Governments need, I think, to take a bit of humble pie and learn from what this industry has to offer. We are engaged again with Telefónica in the ICT for EE process that the European Commission, bless you, has requested. And again, there, I think, the Commission's taken a bit of a standoff position. We are, I think, proactively going to be inputting to that. But it's incumbent on the Commission to get other sectors of the European Parliament engaged and wanting to leverage what our technologies can offer. We can enable great solutions, but if people don't use them, and if governments don't catalyze and provide incentives for people to use them, they simply won't reach the potential that we know there is. I think that's all I'm going to say for now. I'd welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Gabriel, for your intervention.